All praises to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on something that I've always kind of known since I've became like aware of these Edomites, man, and just watched how they do things, man. Going back since like being an early age teenager up to now, right? And I used to think about it, but now that we know that these people are Edomites, we think of and we assess things that they do even more now, right? And it's basically about how these Edomites do not like the brotherhood of so-called black men, and I've noticed this from throughout my life, right? I've just noticed this, and then now, like after something that happened a few days ago, I was like, you know what? Let me go and ask this AI overview. Let me ask this AI a few questions on this. And when I asked it the question, why are white people jealous or envious of black brotherhood, right, or black unity? It gave me answers. It never said that they don't. It never said no, they're not worried about that. They don't care. It gave a whole psychological thing, and I've got like 25 screenshots here of why they are envious and why they don't like it, man. And I'm gonna go into it, and I'm gonna also apply the scriptures to this. But the thing that sparked me to research this again and look into this anyway was that I was in the I was in the gym. I was in the gym, right? And there's a couple of it's mainly Edomites that go to the gym that I go, but there's a couple of Jakes in there, and I've noticed that whenever I go in there, and then there's other Jakes in there, that a lot of these Edomites just automatically assume or want to know if me and the other Israelites in there know each other, right? And then depending on which Israelite is the lighter skin tone versus which Israelite is the darker skin tone, these Edomites try and play Jake off of each other and all that, and they're not blatant with what they're doing. But I know these Edomites, man. I've been around them enough times to know how wicked they are and how conniving and nosy they are, man. And they want to know which so-called black person knows another so-called black person, because they're weird like that, man. And there's a whole psychology, and I'm gonna go into it in this lesson, man. No matter how long it takes, there's a whole psychology of this thing, what they do, man. Right? And I saw the Jake, I've seen the Jake in there a couple of times, and they've saw me in the gym for a couple of times, right? Throughout the amount of time that we've been both training there or whatever. And then I saw the Jake doing something in the gym that I know about, and I gave them some advice on how to do it better, which was a risk because I could have just kept the knowledge to myself and like not said anything to them and just minded my business. But I thought, oh, they might want to know, and I told them something that could make what they was doing them be to do it more efficiently, and I just told them a little trick that I know because it's something that I like and I can see that they like that particular thing as well. Then I told them the trick, and then they started talking to me about bare other things, and we were just talking for a bit and that about certain things. But I could tell that while we were having that conversation, that loads of Edomites were trying to eavesdrop in on our conversation, and I could see out the corner of my eye that loads of Edomites were just posting themselves up when they're doing their workout to make sure that they're facing us while doing their exercises, when they could have easily did the same exercise facing away from us, man. And I'm just like, man, these devils, and this is one of the reasons why I never talk to some of these Jakes in there anyway, because these devils are nosy, man. Because I don't really care to talk to these Edomites too much, but like a Jake, I might talk to them if they don't give off too much 2/3 energy. I might talk to them, but even with Jake, most of the time I just mind my business. I'm one of them people that when I go to the gym normally, I might put some headphones in. I might put a damn hoodie over my whole face so that my face can't even be seen, and I just mind my business. I try not to give no one no eye contact and none of that. I don't be trying to look at none of these thirsty harlots that are trying to show their whole batty crease, right? Just so that they can try and drain some of your energy out and be like, hey, you want some of this, but you can't have none. I ain't with all that, man. I just be trying to mind my business. But in that particular situation, I spoke to that Jake, and then we had a decent conversation and that. And he told me some information and some things that I could do that would benefit my training as well, right? But I could tell, like when I was having a conversation, there was loads of Edomites that was angry almost that me and that Jake was talking to each other because they didn't want us to talk to each other. They felt uncomfortable seeing us speak to each other, man. It rubbed them the wrong way. They didn't like it. And there's been a couple of other situations where there's been more than one Israelite in the gym, and these Edomites go on weird there as well. They go on weird, man. Like even some of the time when I've gone into this same gym, other Jakes seem surprised to see another Israelite in there, man. These Edomites like are weirdos, and then after that, anyway, I was like, let me when I get home, let me just do some research on this, man, because I've been noticing this as a thing. It happens in workplaces as well. In your workplace, all you brothers out there, all you so-called black men out there, it happens in your workplace. Don't try and lie and say it don't. In your workplace, when you go canteen, the so-called black people just naturally end up around each other. If you've ever been in a waiting area of anywhere, you notice that the Edomites always post up and sit right next to each other to try and give up, and they always talk and smile with each other in the reception areas of places and that, but they'll ignore Jake. I've seen in my lifetime Edomites that are trying to get a job, but then when they see that there's too many so-called black people or other races trying to get for the same job and try and do the same career path, they leave because they're like, man, nah, this is too low level for me. I'm above this. And they leave, man. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Y'all can't tell me, none of you Edomites out there can try and play with my reality and make it like I'm paranoid about this. Just like how you can't try and make it like I'm paranoid about the fact that so-called white people are envious and jealous and scared of Black Brotherhood. Now, I looked it up and I asked the AI a question, something along the lines of, why are so-called white people scared of Black Brotherhood? Now, this is what it said. It says sociological and psychological research identifies several historical and systemic reasons why some white people. Now, I had to ask it, some white people, because if I said all, it tried to say, oh, you can't generalize. So I had to say some, but really it's all Edomites. Let's not play no games. All Edomites think this way, really, right? Why some white people, which all the white people that don't feel this way, would more than likely be an Israelite or some other nation. But if it's even another nation that's a heathen, they've got this problem. And this thing goes back to the scriptures, man, because in the scriptures, when the Israelites was trying to rebuild their temple, right, all the other nations wanted to stick their heathen noses in and try and have a part to play in our growing up and our increasing as a nation, man. When it's nothing to do with them, they need to mind their business, right? Stay out of our business and mind theirs, man. Anyway, sociological and psychological research identifies several historical and systemic reasons why some white people may feel jealous or scared of Black Brotherhood and solidarity. These feelings often stem from perceived threats to social hierarchies, the legacy of racial oppression, and the psychological weight of historical guilt. So we can't even, because of all the wickedness that Esau's did, now they're scared about us being unified. But what you'll notice when they're talking, though, when they're opening up their stupid Edomite mouths to talk, they'll say some bullshit like, but black people do things to each other, though. Black people harm black people. But then when we don't do it, they get these feelings of, what was it? What did it say? Psychological weight of historical guilt, right? They start fearing social hierarchies. So they'll talk to us and say, oh, you ain't got no brotherhood amongst yourselves. But you'll notice that they also are the ones that are the ones that are main ones trying to stop us from having it. They did psychological things to Israelites to try and make them not have brotherhood amongst each other. But they'll be the same people trying to chat shit in our ears and tell us, but you don't have Black Brotherhood. Black people kill black people. I did some research yesterday on the war in Russia and Ukraine and how many people have died since that. That war has been going on not even 5 years, right? It began in like 2021, 2022 maybe. And in estimates say that 100,000, between 100,000 and then the highest estimates are like 1.1 million that have been injured, killed, or missing people. And that's just from Russia. And then when it comes to the Ukrainians, it's like 500,000. It's like between like 100,000 to 500,000 estimates. So it could be higher than both of those numbers too. So that's 1.5 million people that have been unalived. Edomites, so-called white people killing other Edomites, other so-called white people, right? In over 3 years. But that doesn't get given the same kind of name as when so-called black people do things to each other, because they look at it like, oh, that's just a social thing in public areas. So that's just criminality. But then they get the leeway of not seeming like that's white on white crime because they call it war. Oh, but that's war though. But if you call the so-called black people that are stabbing each other in London or something like that, or shooting each other in Chicago, right? If you called that a war, then you wouldn't be able to say, even make it like that. Anything's really happening in that war. If you called that a civil war, the numbers of deaths that's happening, that is nothing compared to this Russia and Ukraine thing, man. But then the world tries to put it as though we're the most violent, man. No, we're not. You Edomites are way more violent to yourself than anyone else, and way more violent to the rest of the world than anyone else, man. Yet for some reason, we get the stigma of being violent when we don't make weapons to unalive people. You do. We never made a nuclear bomb. I've never held a real gun in my hand. I've held a paintball gun. I ain't never held a real gun in my hand. I never made no industry or made no organization so that women can come there and have their unborn children unalived in the womb. I never made nothing like that. You Edomites made it though, didn't you? Just like Pharaoh, right? Let's carry on. It says perceived threat to power and status. Historically, white dominated power structures have often viewed black collective action as a direct threat to an existing social order. So they're demons, man. They don't want us to have brotherhood. They'll say it to us out of their mouth. Oh, well, what about what black people do to each other? But in the moment they see five so-called black people in five Israelites in a joined up together, they'll call it a gang, or they'll call the police, or there's a gang of youths doing this and doing that. But when they see five Edomites are drunk as hell singing football songs on a train, it's just lads being lads. But if they're seeing five so-called black people doing the same thing, five Israelites doing the same thing, then it's not just lads being lads, is it? If they see five Edomite slags on the train, shouting their mouth off, being complete demons, singing while drunk, pulling up their dress to show their thong, they'll not look at that like, what the hell are you doing? But then the moment some other race does anything, then they're quick to run their mouth, man. And I'm tired of it. And then they got the nerve to, in now 2025, to talk about some black fatigue. Here it is, your own so-called white people are destroying your society and the reason why, and the root of you not having what you want to have. And yet you're fatigued with black people instead of being fatigued with the people that are actually the root of your problems, because you're just racist. Now, I don't care about you being racist because I'm racist too. But my racism is the real one. Because I'm racist based on whether you're an Edomite or not, or whether I perceive you to be an Edomite. I don't care what your skin color is. Because there's people that I've looked them right in the face, and they look like an Edomite, but I don't think they're an Edomite. And I've really sincerely looked at them like, man, I believe that this person's an Israelite, but I not only want them to be an Israelite, I want them to be of the elect, man. And I hope that that person's of the elect, not that they're just an Israelite, because that's not enough right now. Anyway, let me carry on. It says loss of hegemony. Some white individuals fear that black empowerment and success could lead to a loss of their own socioeconomic power and status. And it's not only so-called white people that think this way, it's all these heathen nations, man. And that's why their main fear is this Hebrew Israelite doctrine. And that's why, listen, man, this guy that I'm about to mention, he's stupid. I mean, he's dumb, but he ain't stupid. The moment this Malone guy really saw this Hebrew Israelite doctrine and really sat down and watched, so, this is what it is with this Hebrew Israelite doctrine. People can laugh about what we say, right? They can think, like, people can even listen to me right now and think, man, this guy sounds dumb, man. He don't sound educated. I'm telling you right now, if you watch enough of the videos and the information that I put out there, you're gonna start realizing that I'm not chatting shit. And that's not me saying it because of anything. It's the things I'm saying is what I've heard other men say. And I'm repeating a message that other men that have wisdom, that's Yahweh gave them, have said. I'm repeating the same message. This isn't no new message that I came up with. It's a message that's been going on and been waiting to get spread to this world since the beginning of time, man. This ain't no joke. Abraham was really a man that walked the earth and existed. So was Isaac. So was Jacob. So were the 12 tribes of Israel. These aren't just characters in a book. These were real men. Just like how we are real men right now walking this earth. And in the time to come, our grandchildren are going to know about us in the kingdom. Just like how we're the grandchildren, the great, 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 many times over grandchildren of Abraham. And we know about him and what he did. We're the great, 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 many times over grandchildren of Isaac and of Jacob and of the 12 tribes. And we know what they did, man. We know what Yahweh Shai did, and he was alive 2,000 years ago, died, resurrected from the dead, and he's alive right now at the right hand side of Yahweh. And we believe in him, man. And he's the most copied person on the earth. Everyone would like to think that they had what it takes to do what Yahweh Shai did, but none of them have, though. And that's why you'll even have women try and pretend that they're the Messiah and try and lie to their congregations, man. The information's out there. I've seen documentaries on that stuff. But let me carry on. Fear of retribution. A deep-seated psychological fear exists that if black people achieve equal or greater power, they might treat white people with the same harshness that was historically inflicted upon them. Now, I'm not here to lie. You Edomites are going to face exactly what you did to us, man. It's written, right? What's the line from 12 Years a Slave? And that's scripture. It's scriptural. Revelation 13, verse 9 to verse 10. Let him that have an ear, he that has an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Now, if you wasn't an oppressor, you Edomites, when you read that verse, you would explain what it means, honestly. But because you know you're the oppressor of the world, you lie. Now, again, I'm not here to lie. You Edomites better not even ever dare try and make out like you're the good guys of this society, man. You're not the good guys. You're not the good guys of this earth, man. You're not. The other day, I'm walking down the street, an Edomite officer lets an Edomite couple go, right? Keeps his car stationary. As I'm crossing the road, while they're in the middle of it, and now they've completely crossed, and then now I'm in the road, and now the officer's got the chance to just keep his car neutral so that I can go across the road as well. He starts moving the car forward while I'm in the road. But when it was two Edomites in the road, he waved his hand for them to be let go. But then when it's me in the middle of the road, he starts bringing his car forward. Now, he didn't bring it close enough to hit me, but the point is, now some people might say, oh, you're paranoid, man, that you're just reading into things too much. That's what people always try and say to Jake. They always try and gaslight us so that we can make it like our reality is not real. Try and make it like the things that we're seeing ain't real, man. They try and gaslight us. Oh, you're black and I'm white. No, you don't try and gaslight me. Nothing's black about me. There ain't nothing black on me, man. Maybe my hair is black. That's it. But they'll try and make us look at our own skin that's brown and tell us it's black. And some of you dumb jakes that are quick to scoff and get on TikTok and run your mouth, make AIs. You're quick to laugh about us not believing that we're black, right? But we're not, though. Dummy. But let's carry on reading into this anyway. A deep-seated psychological fear exists that if black people achieve equal or greater power, they might treat white people with the same harshness that was historically inflicted upon them. Now, when you've been an oppressor your whole life, right, this forces you in a situation where now you have to just keep being an oppressor. So don't ever believe these Edomites when they try and say to you, oh, we want black people should level up and change themselves. They don't want us to do that. They don't want us to do that because it brings them fear, and it goes in. There's one part in this where it's seen where I read where it literally said that some white people actually feel physical stress when they see black people having something good done for them, man. And that goes into the scriptures in the book of Sirach, right? Or is it Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, where it says that he's grievous unto us even to behold. That's why you sometimes just minding your business, walking on the street, and you'll just look to your left or your right, and you'll just literally see an Edomite looking at you. They're not saying nothing. They're just looking at you because it's really grievous to them to see you alive and well. They'll laugh at you if you're poor, but then it's grievous to them if you've got a job, especially if they find out that you've got a job better than theirs. They might laugh if you don't have a car for a time, or if you've got a shit car. But then if you get an upgrade on your car and get a car that they think that they should have, now they're jealous. And there's a thing that I'm about to read right now. It's called zero-sum mentality, because an Edomite cannot see a Jake with something and think, oh, he's just earned that, and that's got nothing to do with me. When they see us with something nice, because of the mind that they have, the sickening psychology that they have, they think, man, Dave's took that from me. Now I'm gonna read it. Zero-sum mentality. There's often an underlying belief that the gains of one racial group must come at the expense of another, leading to anxiety about black solidarity. So if a so-called black man's got a job, when you've got this kind of mentality, what an Edomite's gonna think is, damn, he took that job from a white guy. A white guy could have had that job. So then this is the kind of mentality that an Edomite has then, when you consider this, that every single so-called white people or so-called white person has to have something good first before anybody else can have one. But here's the problem with that kind of mentality. There's a so-called white person being born every day. So if a so-called white person, if every single so-called white person's got a good job, a good house, a good car, they'll be like, okay, let's give one to a black person. But then now another white person's been born. So now they're going to need theirs. So they don't want us to have nothing nice. They just want us to curl up and die. But they can't admit that because they want so-called white people want to actually believe that they're good people. So then here's the problem. They're wicked, but they want to pretend to be good. So how can you do that though? Because all your actions show that you're wicked and show that you're the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right? These Edomites tried to make some fake and Muhammad Ali said this to an Edomite on the TV, man. He said, you white people are always trying to talk about some devil under the ground with a pitchfork and that's red and all of that. But you've did more evil to us than that devil that you talk about did, man. You've did more harm to us in your lifetime than this imaginary devil that you've told us about. And when you consider that, who's the real devil then, man? Let me carry on. There is often an underlying belief that the gains of one racial group must come at the expense of another, leading to anxiety about black solidarity. And there's even scriptures in the Bible that go into that, man. Right, in Habakkuk, he's oppressive, right? In fact, let me find it, man. 1 second. I'm gonna try and find that scripture right now. Right, Habakkuk, man. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto himself all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people. Shall not these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, warn him that increaseth that which is not his? And that's what you Edomites have did. You've increased that which is not yours. You're all up in everyone else's business. And then the moment they call you out about it, you're telling them to go back to Africa, go back to Somalia. If you don't like it, what are you doing here then? What are you doing here? If you don't like it, why don't you just get up and pack up and leave? When you Edomites don't like what's going on in your country, you pack up and you leave. There's plenty of Edomites right now, if you do research, that are packing up and from living in America to go and move to Mexico. But isn't that the same country that is talking about making a border to stop Mexicans from coming into their country though? But they want immigration to be one way. They want it to be a one-way rigged game. You can't come into my country, but I can go in and out of yours whenever I want to. That's like if you got a neighbor, right, and you put up a fence, or they put up a fence. I'm putting up a fence to keep you out. Don't go in my garden. But then they keep kicking their football over your fence. They keep throwing things over your fence. They damn get a step ladder. And when they hear you having a good time over in your garden, they get a step ladder and then climb up the step ladder and just stand and start looking over into your garden, man. That's the kind of people these Edomites are. They're fucking weirdos, man. Excuse my language. They're weird as fuck, man. They spy on you. They're nosy. They're trying to figure out your routine, your pattern and all that. They're trying to know what you do for a living. They want to know things about you. They want to try and ask they want to know if you're more successful than them. And then if you aren't more successful than them, they're going to try and lord it over you. But then if you are more successful than them, they're going to try and make it like you got it undeservedly. And like there's something must have happened in the society for you to be more successful than them. But at the same time, while they're doing this, they want to say the society's fair when you point out to them that we ain't got this and we ain't got that. Oh, but the society's fair, so you should be able to get it. But then when you do get it, then they're saying that the society's done a scam, and the only reason why you can get it is because the society did a DEI hire, or they put some kind of special program in place for you to get it. Or you must get it. You must be, what are you, a basketball player? Are you Nah, I'm not a basketball player. I'm not even close to the height to be a basketball. Are you a basketball player? Oh, you must be in sports or something. If they see a Jake on a nice flight, an expensive flight that might be first class, oh, are you famous? Are you an actor? Like Chris Rock even mentioned this, man. He said that he in his area, he had like Jay-Z or some kind of other famous people living in his area, right? Where they got all these £1 million houses, right? And they said, and also in my area that I live in, there's a dentist, and he's not the best dentist in the world, but there's a dentist living around me and around all these other famous people. And why does he live there? And it must just be a thing that white people are just able to just do a normal job, but I have to be some exquisite person and do some high level thing to live in the same area. And it's true. And even the elder and another brother did a video over in the UK, right, where they was going into all this, man, about the golden age of Esau and how Esau had all these advantages, and yet still is only barely even still now, like the middle class and the lower level Edomites are not able to even keep up with Jake. But the thing is, Esau wanted them unfair advantages, but now that them unfair advantages are starting to shrink, they're crying. But when we used to cry and complain about how we didn't have this and we didn't have that and was being treated unfairly, they said that we're just lazy and we're making excuses. But now that they're complaining, all of a sudden now that they've got a reason to complain. So when they complain, oh, it's justified and they're not making excuses. But when we complain about unfairness, we're just blaming the so-called white man. But who are they blaming? When they're blaming the government about why they ain't got this and blaming, oh, the government's bringing them up, who are they blaming? Isn't it white men that they're blaming? Because we ain't in charge of their government, are we? When they're blaming the elites, who are they blaming? They're blaming white men. The so-called white people are the elites that they're talking about, man. It's not us. So they're full of shit, ultimately, man. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, ornament of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Now, let me get this as well, man. Verse 15, warn him that giveth his neighbor to drink, that putteth that bottle to him, and maketh him drunk also, that thou mayest look upon his naked, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's what these Edomites have did. They don't want us to have brotherhood, but then they use that we don't have brotherhood as a weapon against us. When the moment we mention anything about them, oh, well, black people kill black people. But then when they complain about things that we do, and then we say, okay, you're talking about immigration, for example, or you're talking about grooming gangs, but what about the things that you so-called white people are doing? And then they'll come with some, oh, what, you're saying you don't believe in freedom of speech? Oh, are you saying you don't believe in freedom of speech when we say things about you? Because you're the reason why we can't say mark of the beast on the internet and say exactly what we think the mark of the beast is. You're the reason why we have to use code words now and say things like MOTB. We can't just say that we think that this particular thing is the mark of the beast and then let it be said. I've done it before. During the lockdown, if you said that and just put the video up, I'd done it. And I had the channel that I was on at the time, which is gone now, had like 1 subscriber or maybe 5. And the video did not stay up for 10 minutes. The video was taken down after like 10 minutes. Why do you think that there's the transcripts on all these videos, man, and the closed caption thing, that they can know exactly what word is said and use AI to get rid of certain words and certain phrases being said, man? So don't try and go on like y'all are some freedom of speech lovers, because you're not. And that's the reason why y'all are trying to make digital identifications so you can know exactly who's saying whatever they're saying. And when that digital identification comes out, a lot of you Edomites are not going to be bold to say some of the racist things that you're saying online anymore, man. And that's the reason why y'all are always crying, oh, I'm getting taken down for tweets. Well, what did you tweet then, man? And if you're such a man and you're not no coward, you'd say whatever you want to say anyway then. Just say what you want to say anyway, or say it in a code word then. Damn Edomites, man. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 16. These 6 things doth Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are abomination unto him. A proud look, you Edomites have that. A lying tongue, you Edomites definitely have that. And hands that shed innocent blood, you definitely have that too. And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, trying to think about ways to stop so-called black people having brotherhood. Feet that be swift in running to mischief. You so-called black people you so-called white people are the reason right now why the so-called black woman is a demon toward us, man. You helped that. You helped it happen. Now she's not guiltless because she fell for the tricks, but you're part of the reason why. And that's part of it. Even a so-called black couple walking on the street gets treated different by the world, man. If they go to a restaurant, you Edomites aren't just going to be able to see them there having a good time and just leave it at that. The woman's going to try and start watching what the so-called black woman's wearing, especially if she's got her natural hair and it looks good. She's gonna want her man to try and get her to try and order the same food as them now to prove I can get that same food too. Before one car, like one filthy heathen that lives next door, man. Before, man, one car that I used to have, which the car was dead, man. The car wasn't no car to be copying, and they went out their way to try and prove that they could have the same car, and ended up getting exactly the same car, man. When it's not a car that you're gonna be trying to go out your way to prove that you can have the same one, but my car was better than theirs by a little bit at the time, right? But they went out of their way to try and get exactly the same car, and I'm thinking, you're a demon. You're going out of your way to copy this car. You may as well have just got a way better one. Because you can probably afford it. Just get a way better one. But they wanted to prove they could have the same car as me. Because these heathens can't help but try and copy us, man. They're demons. In the gym, the same thing, man. They're trying to secretly monitor what you're lifting. To the point where I've had to say to people, yo, stop staring at me, man. They're secretly, they're just staring like those weirdos. Like, this world's so grievous unto an Israelite man's whole spirit, man. It's like we're in our own version of the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, just being stared. And it's not paranoia neither. That's the thing, because people try and make it like you're just paranoid and you're just overly looking into things. Mate, we're supposed to be looking into things, man. We're in a trap and a snare down here on this earth. Now, you don't bug out over it, but don't let no one of these people try and gaslight you and make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about, man. We know what we're talking about, man. These things are really happening. This is not no game or no pretend. There's a guy that literally exists on this earth that's traveled all the way to another country to try and speak to Hebrew Israelites that he claims are so insignificant. He's tried to message people, right? He's literally spoke to the top people in this belief group, right? The top ones, the top 4 men. I think all 4 of them were there, if I'm not mistaken. He spoke to them, heard the doctrine straight from their mouth, and still not satisfied. Trying to go to other people. It don't matter. The top ones, the leaders, still believe there's certain doctrine, but he's trying to go and travel and see everyone because he really is trying to antagonize to try and get someone to be violent. It's like, see, they're violent. And that's why when there was an Israelite brother in this group that defended himself against a filthy Edomite that pulled out what he believed at the time, a real gun, to try and unalive him, and he defended himself and disarmed that Edomite, and he saw people putting videos to the point where Hodge Twins got the video, loads of other people on YouTube got the video. It grieved him. It grieved his soul for him to see people praising that guy, to the point where he had to make his own video and be like, yeah, y'all are all praising him, but do you even know what he teaches? It don't matter what he teaches. He did self-defense. And then you could barely admit that he had the right to defend himself. You barely was able to admit it, man. You was really, when you watch the video, trying to look for a reason why he shouldn't have did that. But you couldn't find one. Because you're on a Haman spirit, man. You demon. Verse 18. And heart that devise of wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. And that's what you Edomites do. Now I'm going to go back to the things that I was reading a second ago, 1 second. That's what you Edomites do, man. You try and sow discord among brethren, and that's why you hate to see so-called black brotherhood. You hate to see so-called Latino and Native American brotherhood as well. And that's you Edomites divide and conquer spirit, you devils, man. Right? Historical roots of fear. Fear of black unity has been intentionally cultivated for centuries through various social, political mechanisms, control of the enslaved. During the era of slavery, white people sought to strictly control black populations to prevent rebellions, leading to a long-standing existential fear of any sign of black resistance. Propaganda and media portrayals have historically reinforced negative stereotypes of black men as dangerous or aggressive, which fuels modern anxieties regarding black brotherhood. Like, some of you Edomites are so dumb that you believe that every single so-called black man has dreads. Or you believe that every single so-called black man walks with his trousers hanging down his ass cheeks. No, he don't, man. You believe you people are so fooled by the media that you believe that every single so-called black man's a criminal. Yet you'll walk down the street and see a so-called black man and he's not committing a crime. And you'll literally walk past so-called white people committing a crime, not think nothing of it. But when you see a so-called black man committing a crime, oh, see, I knew it. You're some of you people are so dumb. Some of you people are literally subscribed to channels that show crime in general. And you'll get on a video where you're subscribed to, by the way, and you'll see a black person committing a crime and be like, oh, usual suspects. It's always them. It's not always them, but it's always one of them. It's always them, usual suspects, usual this, usual that. And you'll be like, see, it's always them. Listen, man, you subscribe to a channel that literally shows all races committing crime. And if you were to check your comments would only be on the videos where you see a so-called black person committing a crime. Because the videos that have a so-called white person committing a crime don't have none of these same people on there. And even there's a thing on YouTube now where you can actually click on someone's icon that leaves comments on the videos and see if they've left comments on that on other channels. On other videos, and you'll notice that they're only leaving comments on certain videos some of the time, man. That's literally a feature. So you people are just full of it. You all of a sudden know what the judgment should be when a so-called black person or anyone that's not your race commits a crime. But then when it's one of you, you don't ever have anything to say. You'll just automatically assume that if there's a person that's got violent in public and did something crazy, oh, it's obviously one of them Islams, or it's this and it's that race. But then when you find it's you don't say nothing. Because you're hypocrites, man. You don't know how to judge society fairly. You don't even judge things fairly when it's you. You barely even want anything to happen when an Edomite does anything to another Edomite, man. Because you're demons. You're not made to rule, man. You was made to take away peace from the earth, and you're doing a great job. You slippery Edomites, man. You're not so-called white people. You're Edomites, right? And that's why the Hebrew Israelites are your main enemy, because they did away with that belief that you're whites. Average people now really know that you're Edomites, man. You hear the word Edomite being spoken in places that you be like, man, why the hell is that being spoken there? People are starting to know that you really are the Edomites, man. And just wait till some of these other nations of the lower level start calling you people Edomites, man. That's when you're really going to start fearing. Some of you people are going to start trying to put that Edomite thing on some Ishmaelite, and they're like, no, you're the Edomite. That hasn't happened really yet. It's only Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans at the moment that are calling you people Edomites. But it's going to get to where other races are going to call you Edomites as well, man. There's going to be some China, man. You might kick up a fuss in his store, and it's going to be like, yo, get that out there, you Edomite. Fuck out of here. Get that out there, Edomite. Bastard, motherfucker. And then we start cursing your ass out, man. People are going to start cursing your ass out in Urdu, and then you're going to just catch one word, and they're going to be like, Edomite. Talibani puti Edomite, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You're going to start hearing all that going off, man. Watch. I hope Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai puts that on you Edomites, man. I hope so. Because you need to realize that you've been evil down here, man. And as much as you talk out your mouth about how black people ain't doing this and doing that, you're the reason. I'm reading it. You don't want them to do it though. So you'll say do it, but then when they start doing it, you get fear. So you're full of shit. That's like a woman. Let's say this is what women do, man. A woman might say, "Oh, you can't have multiple wives. You can't have multiple wives because you're too broke to start having multiple wives." And women used to say that to Jake, but now the Jakes have got money to have multiple wives, and they're still complaining. So they really was running their mouth about Jake not having money to be able to do some of these things because they didn't believe that they was ever going to be able to achieve that. But now that the men have achieved it, for the men that have even achieved the financial aspect of why women say they don't think I might should have multiple wives, they still don't want them to have it because they just said it, trying to give them a task that they really thought was impossible and they never do. Just like how so-called white people are trying to say, oh, you black people ain't got no brotherhood, so don't have anything to say about us. But if no black person committed any crime against other so-called black people, right, and was all brotherly 100%, not doing nothing to each other, and then we said, you so-called white people are doing this and doing that, you wouldn't be able to try and point out anything like that. So then you'd have to try and stage something. And that's why it's my opinion that Edomites literally send out people into the world to occasionally do one of these police versus civilian cases to try and stir up something, to try and get Jake marching, man. I believe that. Now, I can't prove it, but I believe that they do that, man, because these Edomites are like that. These are the kind of people that they are. These are the kind of people that they are, man. Now, carry on. It says criminalization of solidarity, peaceful or symbolic acts of black unity, such as raised fists or taking a knee, are often met with violent threats or increased policing, as they are framed as disruptive to the status quo. Exactly. So we can't ever unify in peace, man. They're spying on our life the whole time. And this is not a paranoia. This is a real thing, right? I wasn't expecting to find all this information out when I looked into this, but I just noticed it when I was talking to that Jake in the gym. It's like, yo, let me look into this, man. There could literally be 30 Edomites in a place and 3 Jakes, and they'll try and make it like it's the end of the world, man. They'll try and find which one they think is the bigger coon, and they'll start trying to talk to him. Oh, hello, how are you doing then? How are you? And I've heard elders say when that day they might go out to a bar or something like that to have a drink or something like that together, outside of being in their garments, and then weird Edomites just come over and start asking them questions, man. Fucking mind your business. Because you wouldn't just go up to somebody else that's the same race as you and you see them in a group and start asking them what they're up to. Fucking mind your business, man. We can do things that's none of your business. And in the kingdom, we're going to be doing a whole lot of things that's none of your business, man. And we're going to be sticking our nose in and seeing what you Edomites are doing. Yo, what y'all up to? Oh, y'all are trying to resurrect a Babylonian idol. Nope. That's not happening on our watch. We're going to be spying on everything that you do. And we're going to be able to spy on your life and see what you've got going on. But you're not going to be able to see anything of what we've got going on, man. The roles are going to reverse. We're going to stick our nose into all of your affairs. And you ain't going to be able to stick your nose into any of our affairs because you're not going to be able to go where we can go. You're not going to be able to go everywhere that we can go. But we're going to be able to go everywhere that you can go. Just like now. We can't go everywhere that you can go, right? In this society right now. But you can go everywhere that we can go. But I'm going to say this. We can go more places in your society than you're ever going to be able to go to in our society, man. You're going to be real restricted on where you can go in our society, but we're not as restricted in your society because we've actually been necessary for your society to happen. You're not going to be necessary for our kingdom. The reason why we're going to get you as captives for 1,000 years in our kingdom is not because we need you to actually help build up the kingdom of heaven. It's because you're going to have to pay for all the wickedness that you did, and then you can leave. It's not because we need you there, but for you to have the society that you've had, you've needed us. You've needed our ignorance. We're not going to need your intelligence or your ignorance to have the kingdom of heaven. Because after you've gone, the kingdom of heaven is going to last longer than it did with you alive. It's going to last longer than it did with you as a nation. Like the kingdom, you Edomites are going to be subjects of the kingdom of heaven for 1,000 years, and then you're going to be gone. But the kingdom of heaven is going to last infinity after that. You're not necessary to the kingdom of heaven. You're not necessary. Now, excuse the ranting, man, but when I think about these things, I get very angry, man. And it's my opinion that a trait of the tribe of Benjamin is going off on a rant every now and again. We go on rants, man. I've noticed it with some other people that are tribe of Benjamin. They occasionally go on some rants, but then even Judah does it to Levi because the spirit of this world makes us go like that, man. It brings it out of us, man. It brings out anger. This society is angering, man. Let me carry on. Number 3, psychological and social anxieties. The discomfort some white individuals feel is often linked to their own identity and place in racialized society. White fragility. Confronting black brotherhood can trigger white fragility, where white individuals feel their moral standing is in jeopardy, leading to defensive emotions like anger avoidance. And that's what they do. When they see Jake just minding their business in public, they'll get angry, man. And that's why you've got Edomites to just come over to the Hebrew Israelites when they're out on their camp and just being weird. just chatting shit, trying to spy on what they're saying, trying to come fake nice, or deliberately going out of their way to try and avoid being biased, man. Which, who cares about that anyway? But they'll show anger as well. Or they'll try and show fake pride where they try and look at you and smile to try and make you feel insecure, but really they're trying to project the feelings that they've got onto you. And that's why sometimes when Edomites see you dressed nice or see you doing something good, they try and come up with a fake smile, a fake proud smile, but really they're dying on the inside, man. So don't believe that BS, man. It's about time we study them like how they study us, man. They need to be studied. Lest Satan get an advantage of you for we're not ignorant of his devices, man. And some people might not like the way how I bring out my lessons. Well, Salakia, man. But this is the kind of spirit that Yahweh's put on me to speak, man. I ain't too smoothly spoken or I shout when I'm doing my thing, man. And I get angry. It says fear of being seen as racist. In modern interracial interactions, white people often, which is really Edomites, often experience racial anxiety due to fear of being perceived as racist, which really it's the fear of being exposed as being what they really are, man. Which can cause them to feel uncomfortable or intimidated by strong black group identities. But why don't they just mind their own business, though? Because they don't want us to raise up, man. Because this world tries to make, you know what, man? This world tries to make out like so-called black people are insignificant, but they all know that if there was one group that they did not want to be the Israelites, it was exactly who is. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna say that again. This world knows that if it wasn't the people that they believe are the Israelites, the small hats, right, and they had to pick anybody else that could be the Israelites, the least group that they would want to be the Israelites is exactly who actually is the Israelites, man. Right? If they could have chose, okay, so it's not the people that live in the land of Israel, pick someone else. Okay, we choose the global union nations of groups of human beings on earth. We choose to nominate the Chinese. They're going to be the Israelites, all right? But what about black people? No. We cannot make it with them. Anyone but them. What about Native Americans? Nope, definitely not them either. What about Mexicans and Latino people? Nope. What about if black people, Latinos, and Native Americans all were the Israelites? Absolutely no chance in hell. That's the worst. That's the worst reality. Well, guess what? That's exactly what the reality is, though. We are the Israelites, and we ain't the Israelites because some random geezer from the Midlands said that we are, that you're hearing say on this video. I ain't nothing special, man. We're the Israelites because we are the Israelites, man. I could literally crash out and not believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahshua anymore. We're still the Israelites. There's been plenty of people that have stopped believing at this doctrine. There's people right now trying to say that heathens can be saved, Gentiles can be saved, saying that the Gentiles are going to judge the Israelites in the kingdom, as if there's not going to be nothing for the Gentiles to judge for the Israelites doing, because they're going to keep all the laws according to Hebrews, the 8th chapter, 11th verse. But whatever floats your boat, mate. Oh yeah, the Gentiles are going to judge the Israelites in the kingdom. What are they going to have to judge? They're not going to do anything wrong. So what are they going to judge about them? But that's when you're so lost and got demons whispering in your ear, telling you doctrine, you're going to say anything, man. You're basically an Edomite at this point if you're teaching stuff like that. But anyway, let me carry on. Envy of community resilience. While jealousy is less documented in formal studies than fear, some sociologists suggest that the strong sense of community and strength in the face of adversity found in black brotherhood may be perceived as an inviolable form of social capital by those who feel more disconnected from their own communities. Exactly. You Edomites don't even like each other, really. You just hate everyone else more. You Edomites don't really have brotherhood. And that's why there'll be an Edomite that might be a millionaire and he'll see an Edomite that's a bum on the street, stinking like wet ass cheeks, right? Smelling like hot poo-poo, hot dookie. Smelling like a Glock dookie. Say it's lucky. Smelling like a Glock dookie that's been put in the microwave and then boiled. right? And they'll see another person, not even them. They'll see another person give him money, and they'll come over to the person that gave him money. You shouldn't do that, because it's going to take away his work ethic. Mind your business. Don't tell that person what to do with their money. Why didn't you give him none of yours? Why didn't you? Okay, don't give him money. It's going to take away his work ethic. Okay, you're a millionaire. Why don't you give him the work ethic to become a 10,000-aire then? Because you're selfish to your own so-called own people. And that's why you've tricked your own people to make them think that immigrants are the problems or so-called black people are the problem and the reason why they ain't rich no more. But really, their money is in your bank account. It's not in ours. The money that they're crying about and the jobs that they're crying about, complaining that they ain't got anymore, we ain't got the jobs. The jobs have been shipped over to some next random place. Or the jobs have been taken away in general because you've made a machine that you don't need as many humans to make it no more, because you made a machine that can do 5 humans' jobs. Or you've making AI that's going to get rid of plenty of people's jobs, man. And you've literally told the civilians in your society, you're going to own nothing and be happy. And they're not going to be happy because they're actually happy. They're going to be happy because that's going to be the only choice you're going to give them, according to how you want the society to go. Where you've got a micro chip in their head and you're inputting through electrodes happiness into their mind, man. You want to give them a false happiness. But y'all ain't real though, man. And that's why I have an Edomite trying to study and try and stalk a so-called black man's life to try and see what his job is, or see what his career is, or wonder where he gets his money from, when they should be figuring out where their money's gone, man, and how they can upskill and improve their life. Instead of stalking what everyone else is doing. Mind your business, man. You damn Edomites. Worry about what's going on in your life. Yeah? Worry about why you ain't skilled enough. Don't worry about what we're doing. We're just black monkeys that were swinging in trees in Africa, right? So why are you worried about what we're doing for? Worry about yourself. Why can't you compete with black monkeys that were swinging in trees in Africa? Why are you more inferior than that? Isn't it interesting? Anyway, let's carry on, man. Number 4, impact of segregation, persistent residential and social segregation means that white people have limited meaningful interaction with black communities, relying instead on stereotypes. Exactly. But here's the thing, we don't want to live around y'all anyway, really. If we're given a chance, we'd happily bounce. But here's the thing, if we did go to other places in the world, you Edomites would come over there anyway. So when you're telling people to go to Africa and all these things, if we go to Africa, are we going to see you there? If I go Africa, am I going to see an Edomite there? Yeah, I would. So why are you telling me to go Africa for, as if you ain't in Africa? Don't try and play with my emotions, man, and try chatting shit, because you're everywhere that you tell us to go. You're everywhere. There's not nowhere on this earth that we can go where you ain't going to see you, man. You stalk up our whole life, man. You gallivant up yourself all over the gaff. Nosy as hell. Let's carry on. Lack of intergroup contact. According to the contact hypothesis, a lack of direct interaction with black people allows stereotypes to flourish, increasing fear of the unknown. Which, here's the thing, man. You Edomites make the stereotypes anyway. You Edomites make the stereotype. But then at the same time that you Edomites have all these stereotypes, you don't know what the stereotypes of your own people are. You try and ignore the stereotypes of your own people. And unless the person's the exact characteristics of you, you try, but that's chavs. Oh, but that's the elites. Oh, but that's a white person from this country though. That's not me. That's Polish. So he has to be from London, from this street, went to this university and this college, be the same height as you, be the same eye color, and then you be like, oh man, I can't believe that somebody like me committed a crime, one of me. But if he's just white, but he's a chav though, he's poor, so he's not white. Huh? But you don't give black people the same thing though. You don't be like, that's a black gang member that's committing crimes. You just put it on all black people. Oh, that's a black poor person committing crimes. You just, black people are criminals. But then when it's you categorize it though, when you got subcategories and categories. Oh, that's an Eastern European. Oh, that's a Western. You know what I mean? Oh, that's an American. Oh, that's a Swedish. Oh, that's a Jewish. It's real interesting, isn't it? Real hypocritical as well. Stereotype reinforcement. Without first-hand experience of black brotherhood, individuals are more likely to endorse negative stereotypes about black criminality or low impulse control, which that impulse control, man, no one's got less impulse control than you Edomites, man. And that's why you Edomites foam out the mouth and will just are the main race that randomly just shouts out racism at people, man. That's impulse control too. Watching what you say is impulse control. You Edomites get drunk, start spazzing out, doing all kind of crazy things, man. The videos are on the internet that y'all like to boast about how y'all made it. Let's carry on, man. There's plenty more. I said, so it is not paranoid to believe that white people do this. He said it is not paranoid to observe these dynamics. Rather, they are documented phenomena in sociology, history, and psychology known as racial anxiety, white fragility, and threat perception. So they consider it a threat for us to just be unified as a nation towards each other, man. And it's not only them, it's all these nations. They don't like it. And that's why they hate the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, right? But they have to attack the Hebrew Israelite doctrine without openly mentioning it. Because then if they do openly mention that they think this is a threat, some so-called black people are going to be like, okay, so this thing here bothers you so-called white people. Let me see why. And they're going to start looking into it, man. Like I remember there was a time where the comedian Corey Holcomb, he was seeing all the things that's going on with the Kanye West, and he started getting angry on his channel, on his 5150 thing, going into like, oh, why are you saying we can't be the people for? Why can't we be the people? Who are you to say that? Who are you to say we can't be the people, man? And people started really looking into it, man. And that's what y'all are scared of. You're scared of their awakening because you know what you did. You know what lies about us you told, man. You know the lies you told. And you've been scared, hoping that the day that we realize what the lie actually was never comes, but we've realized it now. We know what you lied about, man. And it doesn't matter how many Israelites don't believe the lie, don't believe that it was a lie what you said about us, that we're just black, and realize that we're actually Israelites. Enough are gonna know. The elect to the nation of Israel is gonna know. Right? The elect's gonna know, man. Now let me carry on. It says research indicates that some white individuals experience. Yeah, this is the part I wanted to read, man. It says research indicates that some white individuals experience genuine stress or fear when confronted with black collective power or solidarity due to deeply rooted systemic and psychological factors. So this is where you get these Karens or a group of black people are having a barbecue in the park, and Edomite comes over, not even knowing if it's true. Do you have a permit to be here? Do you have a permit? Do you have a permit? You need a permit. You need a permit to be here. Like I see in a video yesterday on the TV, man. An Edomite scratched the Israelite woman's car, right? Not knowing that her daughter's in the car, talking about she parked in a handicapped space and she doesn't have a badge. She had a badge. She had a badge in her car. And it was in the window. He's a lying piece of garbage, man. But they don't like to see us with nothing, man. They get genuine stress. They genuinely cannot handle seeing us happy. We are grievous unto them even to behold, for our ways are not like other men's. Our ways are of another fashion, right? They can't stand it. They feel, I just read it, right? Research indicates that some white individuals experience genuine stress or fear. And that's why they do that stupid smile, that dumb smile that we see them do. That's what it is. They're trying to just be neutral, but they can't. They hate us. But they're trying to be neutral. Oh, all right, mate. But you're really, the demons are coming through, man. And they're getting that vein on the side of the head. Let's carry on, man. Is that observing complex dynamics in race relations, which can involve feelings or of anxiety or perceived threat in interracial interactions, is not necessarily paranoid, right? These dynamics are subjects of study in sociology. So don't let none of these people try and make you feel paranoid when you see these things, and try and gaslight you. Oh, you got a chip. You know that? Oh, you got a chip on your shoulder, have you? But none of these Edomites want to hear about the chip that they've got on their shoulder now when they're marching on the streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Shut up, man. You got a chip on your shoulder, have you? Yeah, but they don't want to hear that, man. If they start complaining about him, oh, you've got a chip on your shoulder, have you? I'd actually like to see what an Edomite would do if someone said that to them, and they'd probably spaz out, man. They'd probably crash out because they know that that's the line that you still want to use on us. And these Edomites literally group together and think of these lines and these phrases to say. And that's why they like that CK, Captain Caveman. That's why they liked him so much, because he worded it in such a perfect way for their wicked ass, man. Anyway, let's carry on, man. He said these dynamics are subjects of study in sociology, history, and psychology, sometimes discussed in terms of racial anxiety or threat perception. Research indicates that interactions between racial groups can sometimes involve stress or fear responses due to a variety of factors, including historical context and deeply rooted societal observing. See, I think I missed the last parts of that, Salakia. Observing complex dynamics in race relations. Okay, if this is the same page. Societal influences. These I'm reading the bottom part now, the bottom paragraph. These dynamics are complex and influenced by individual experiences, societal structures, and historical factors. Understanding the nuances of these interactions requires looking at a range of perspectives and avoiding broad generalizations about entire groups of people. It's important to approach these topics with a focus on fostering understanding and open dialogue rather than attributing universal feelings or motivations to any particular racial group. But that's what they do to us, though, innit? That's what they do to us, though. And I'm applying it to all of the Edomites, man. The so-called white people that don't do this are Israelites. It says observing complex dynamics in racial relations can involve feelings of anxiety or perceived threat in interracial relations. Didn't I read that bit already? Yeah, I read that already. Let me go next. There's in sociological and historical terms, the current fear of some white individuals is often described as a consequence of historical and systemic actions, while fault is an individual moral judgment. Researchers identify several ways in which the past directly shapes these current fears. So if they hadn't have put their hands on us, they wouldn't be feeling this right now. This is going to lead me now to Isaiah 47, man. I was rough with my people. I gave them into your hand. You didn't show them no mercy. So now the judgment's waiting for you, man. Jeremiah 49:12. They whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. On a thou he that shall go altogether unpunished. You ain't going to go unpunished. You're going to surely drink of it, man. The mirror of past treatment, fear of reciprocity, and it's going to happen. Like, I'm sorry to burst the bubble of your dreams, but you're not going to be getting no NWO thing that you're thinking. You're going to end up in a worse situation than what you put us in, man. You're going to end up way worse. And it's as a result of the wickedness that you did. The only one you're going to have to blame is yourself. You knew it was the Israelites when you did what you did. And you knew that you were the Edomites when you did what you did. But you still did it. You broke the brotherly covenant. For shame against thy brother Jacob, shame's going to cover thee. And it don't matter how much you try and get the shame away. Just the fact that you lie about history proves that you're wicked. Because if anybody else did them same things to you, you wouldn't just say, oh, well, you was a stronger man in that day. And you was a stronger, so it's not nothing bad. It's not nothing bad. You try and tell everyone else to forget what wrong's been done to them, but you never forget what wrong you do to people, though. I mean, what wrong's done to you. But you try and expect everyone else to forget what they do to you, though, man. A key psychological factor is that fear. Is the fear that black people gain. If black people gain collective power, they might treat white people as white people historically treated them. This is sometimes referred to as existential angst or the oh snap or the whiplash of time. Yo, the whiplash of time, you know. Yo, hey, this is sometimes referred to as existential angst or the whiplash of time. The whiplash of time, man. Guilt as a source of fear. Some psychologists argue that white fear is directly tied to white guilt. The inability to face historical complicity leads to defensive emotions. Exactly. And they don't want to admit that they all played a part in this, man. So they try and deny, oh, black slavery wasn't that bad. Okay, do you want to go through it then? Would you want to go through the things that you think weren't so bad? But black people killed them. But black people put their own black people in slavery. But they sold themselves in slavery. Okay, in Russia and Ukraine right now, they're unaliving each other. Does that give? Would you accept anyone of another race now using that as a justification why they decided to start harming so-called white people? No, you wouldn't. But you think it's okay for you to use the things that you did to a particular race was because you claim that they sold each other to it. Oh, you did it to each other, so don't complain that I did it to you as well. Okay, well, so-called white people do a lot of evil to each other. So then does that mean that somebody else of another race can now do evil to you like what they do, what you do to each other, and justify it by saying what you do to each other? You wouldn't accept that. So therefore, we're not going to accept it from you saying it to us. The inability to face historical complicity leads to defensive emotions, including an irrational fear of the group that was historically harmed, and they've got that fear, man. They're paranoid about us. And that's why when a so-called black person moves into another area, right, you got some random Karen trying to question them on whether they move, whether they live here. But if they see somebody else of another race that they don't know in a building, they just assume that the person does live there that they don't know, that they haven't seen their face before. But when it's your face with brown skin on it, they assume you don't live there. They don't assume, oh, they haven't seen you before and that your schedules just don't match. And now this is the first time seeing you there. They don't assume that. And these Edomites that do these things, by the way, they don't know everyone in the building. They never know everyone in the building. It's just they don't want you to be there. They don't think that you belong there. Because the stereotypes that they grew up with make them to believe that every single so-called black person lives in the hood. So when they see you in their area and they don't believe that their area is the hood, they think you must be lost. How did you end up in 24 getting money lane? You must be lost. Excuse me, do you need some help? Are you lost? No, I live here, back up from me, man. Or what building do you live in then? Where do you live in then? Huh? Who are you? Are you the manager? Let's carry on, man. There's a lot more to read. Number 2, historical cultivation of fear. Tools of control. Historically, white dominated societies used fear of black unity as a justification for strict control. During slavery and the Jim Crow era, any sign of black brotherhood or organization was framed as a threat to public safety to maintain a racial hierarchy. So it's their fault that we ain't got no brotherhood, man. They're the root of it. And yet they're the same people that try and throw it in our face that we don't have it. But then when they see us doing it, and after them saying, yeah, if you fix that up about, then they're trying to do things to stop it, man. Institutionalized paranoia. This was not just personal. It was institutionalized through laws, policing, and media stereotypes that portrayed black collective action as inherently dangerous. Exactly. The zero-sum mentality, perceived threat to status. Many white individuals hold a zero-sum belief, and it's not many, it's really all of these Edomites, man. A zero-sum belief, all Edomites, not all so-called white people, all Edomites. The so-called white people that's lineage goes back to the children of Israel. Don't think like this. The idea that one group gains rights or power another must lose them, and that's how they live their life, man. That's how they live. They live a way where they take from others to try and benefit themselves, man. And that's why they can't just be happy for an Israelite that's got something nice, because they think that we've somehow took something from them. We can't have a job and it's just congratulations on getting a job. It's you took my job, but they didn't even want the job. You might have literally went out of your life and went to college and university to study a completely different subject to them. And they went and studied a different subject. But now if they lose the job that they studied in their subject and see you with a job that's afforded you to get some nice things, They're going to say that you stole their job when you learned, you literally had different career paths. They're not even they might not even be qualified to do what you did or what you're doing, but they'll think you're a DEI hire. But then if they ended up getting that same job without the qualification that you actually went out of your way to get, they wouldn't think that they're a DEI hire. They wouldn't think that they're a nepotism hire. They wouldn't frown upon how they ended up having to transcend through this career path so rapidly without the skills. They think that that's just natural order of things because they're full of shit, man. And excuse me for all the swearing, man, but this is how I talk, man. You have to excuse me. It says protection of status. Research shows that those who most strongly believe in this competitive view of society experience the highest levels of collective angst when faced with black advancement. They can't stand seeing you have nothing nice, man. They can't stand it. Them seeing you have something nice affects their heartbeats. You understand me? If you have something nice, their heart rate goes up, man. But then they don't feel saddened by you having a loss. You being poor don't rub their heart the wrong way. But you catching hell in the world, right? I mean, getting a good shake in the world rubs them the wrong way, man. Psychological conditioning, cultural inheritances, modern society suggests that white individuals often inherit the racial biases and fears of their forebears through cultural conditioning, and that's why all y'all are guilty. Because you got an advantage out of it, didn't care to undo the conditioning. And really, you're all connected to it because you're all Edomites, and it's a spiritual hatred. It's that ancient Jacob versus Esau hatred, man. Internalized myths of black criminality were created to justify past transgressions like segregation and slavery. These myths persist today, causing modern white individuals to feel unconscious bias or fear, even in the absence of actual danger. Exactly. And that's why you'll be walking on the street, minding your business, and the Edomites all looking over their shoulder, trying to clutch their bag. You go into a store, and the Edomite security guard is minding his business. Man might be picking his nose, man. Man might be scratching his behind. You come in the store, now all of a sudden he's got to turn into flipping Jason Bourne or 007 to try and follow you around the store, man. And he's trying to pretend like he's just doing his normal job, but he's watching only you on the CCTV cameras. And in the moment you leave the store, right, all of a sudden he's not watching the CCTV cameras no more. But when you're in the store, all of a sudden now he's got to watch the CCTV cameras, man. You go to a self-checkout in the store, they're trying to angle their body to try and see what you're doing. And there literally might have been 3 or 4 Edomite thieves that stole bare things, man. Thanks to these body cam arrest videos, we're seeing that these Edomites be stealing thousands of dollars on the checkout. Now, are there Israelites that steal things as well? Yes, there is. Absolutely. But there's also you Edomites doing it too. And the Edomites will even have a high-paying job and still doing it, man. And it's getting rid of the myth that we're the ones committing all the crime, but you Edomites still try and make it like you don't see that you're committing the crimes and try and come with this per capita BS. Oh, but per capita, if you were so righteous, you would not be committing no crimes as you try and make out, man. You wouldn't be committing nothing. Because the way how you try and put it is that if you just close your eyes and spin around with your finger pointing, you're just going to see a black person committing a crime. But that's not the case, though, is it? But the way you've made the world is that even if people don't see us committing crimes, they think we must have committed our crime quota for the day, or we're about to commit a crime, or there's potential for us to commit a crime. But then when people see you, they don't think you're committing a crime, or even when you do get caught doing things, people try and treat you with more leniency than they treat anyone else. They treat Edomites with more leniency doing something wrong than they treat a so-called black man in particular that's been wronged. When we get wronged, we're still expected to act polite to the person that's wronged us. And that's why we're the ones that have the descendants of the most worst captivity, slavery in the earth that's ever happened, and yet we're supposed to be the ones that's forgiven. People try and make it like there's something that we have to do to get over it. But then the so-called white people, descendants that did these things, they ain't getting over it. They still always try and mock us about it every chance they get, man. And that's why Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18 is going to happen. That's why. That's one of the reasons why, anyway. It says, in summary, research suggests these fears are not inherent, but are the byproduct of a social system built on racial hierarchy, which really is inherent, man. It's inherited wickedness, man, of Esau's hatred for Jacob. While individuals today may not have personally committed past transgressions, they often live with a psychological and social framework created by those actions. Exactly, they're connected, man, and that's why they're going to get judged the same way. In psychology and sociology, the genuine stress that some white individuals feel in response to black unity is characterized as a visceral reaction to perceived threats to their social standing, identity, and worldviews. And that's why they can't just see you and your own people chilling. They're thinking about them being chained up, man. When you might just be in this walking on the street with 3 or 4 other Jakes, mind your business, having a good day, and Esau sees you coming his way, and he's thinking you're about to put him in the Atlantic slave trade, man. That's what they're thinking in their mind. That this is the end. They're seeing something completely different than what you see. They're thinking that revenge is coming. If there was an all white workplace, and then one Israelite gets hired there, they lose their mind. Especially if he gets given a leadership role, they're like, oh man, see, it's the end of an era. We had a good run, lads. They lose their mind, man. They can't. They're demons, man. And when I was reading this stuff, I was like, damn. They really are wicked. They really do hate our guts, right? We really are, like Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter says, we really are grievous unto them to behold, because they're not seeing the same thing we see. When we see that, if let's say there's a so-called black wedding, which forget weddings, but I'm just using it as an example, and there's a man marrying his wife and they're just having a beautiful time, they get a nice day. Esau sees that as, damn, all these black people are successful. That means that 1, 2, 3, however many people at the wedding, that are all of those jobs should have went to a white person that they know that ain't got a good job. That's how they think. And that's why these Edomites will see a homeless Edomite that they don't know whether he's a drug addict or whether he had a house before and scuffed up the wall by being not paying the rent and being an asshole and doing things that are worthy of getting evicted. They'll be like, oh, but he's homeless, and you've gave one to an immigrant. But the immigrant might actually really want to work, though, and might want to do things, and might have more skills to make them be a more reasonable person to give the house to, and all that stuff, and the job and all that. But y'all don't see that, though. You just want a racial advantage all the time, even if you're not even qualified, man. And at the same time, you don't want us to have nothing in our own countries neither, because you've seen to it us not having our own homeland. You Edomites never told us that we're really the Israelites. You stole our homeland, man. Even right now, you don't want the Chinese to have all the things that they've got going on, and they're putting tariffs on them and trying to compete with them worldwide and trying to do things to try and stop their success. Because you're just hateful. You want to be the only one with any skill. And then you actively go out of your way to try and stop other people's things, man. And then laugh when it's destroyed. But you're the one destroying it. It wouldn't have been destroyed if you didn't do anything to destroy it. And then the way how you think is, well, if you was better than me, I wouldn't have been able to destroy it. That's how you think, because you're sick, man. You're sick in the head. And you want to think you're good people. But then when you actually have to sit back and look at what you did, you realize you can't be a good person, because a good person wouldn't do these things. But you're still not yet prepared to admit that you're the devil that the Bible speaks of. You still are not yet prepared to admit that you're the Edomites, man. But you are, though. Let me carry on, man. Political and economic threat. When black population organizes or increases its economic resources, it can trigger a racial threat response in white individuals who fear competition for jobs, housing, and political influence. And that's why you got these Edomites right now complaining over council housing, man. Just crybabies with a chip on their shoulder, by the way. But quick to try and talk about everybody else having a chip on their shoulder. No, you've got one as well, man. Status loss. Some white people, particularly men, may feel they are being replaced as the focus of societal concern, leading to feelings of anger and collective racial resentment. And that's what we see, man. They ain't being viewed as the honk on earth no more, man. They're on, like, there's one video that I seen with this guy, which I think this guy is a demon, by the way. This guy, this YouTuber called Young Mooch or something, Young Meech or something like that. Some curly haired Puerto Rican looking Jake with that could get a ponytail if he decided that he wanted to turn his hair into a ponytail. You know, one of them mans. Some like skinny, lanky-ish kind of, and women think he's handsome, the guy, right? And he just walked into a random couple and said to them, "Oh, what's going on out here? Did you get married?" And then the woman, about 20 seconds after, just ends up turning away from her Edomite boyfriend and saying she wants the Puerto Rican Jake, man. She just throws herself at him. He wasn't even, in this particular video, he wasn't even trying to do nothing to try and make her throw herself at him, and she just did it anyway. Showing that Esau ain't really got that reputation on more. Like, even there's a thing with this whole these MAGA guys in it, where these women, where they're having to try and lie about who they voted for because certain women don't want to date these guys because they don't like them. They don't like the mentality that they have. But that's the way our Edomites try and make her like the ultimate Edomite male, though. A so-called hetero Christian man, Edomite man, which is an oxymoron, by the way. Because an Edomite is just a naturally an alphabet community, man. An alphabet and a rainbower. And that's why everywhere that they're in charge of, it's legal to be an alphabet and a rainbower. So y'all can try and say, oh, y'all making it up. Everywhere that you're in charge of, it's also legal to be an alphabet and a rainbower. Yeah? If you don't know what alphabet and a rainbower is, you do know. Figure it out, man. Yeah? Alphabet community and rainbow people community, right, is legal everywhere that you Edomites are in charge of, man. Why is that? Then I'm gonna read one or two more of these, and then I'm gonna end the lesson, man. Because you know what I'm gonna do. In fact, I'm gonna quickly just go like this, and then you can pause and see what it says there. I'm gonna just pause some of them. I saw one a minute ago that I wanted to read, man. The envy, because a lot of the things that these Edomites do is based on envy. And when you go to Ezekiel 35 and 11, it speaks about how Esau had envy for Jacob. It's all the things that they say that they're doing these things because of art, because we're monkeys from Africa and all this, because we're criminals and all. No, it's because you're envious of us, man. All right, so sociological and psychological research indicates that some white individuals may experience feelings that can be characterized as secret envy or resentment towards black people. These emotions often stem from a complex interaction between historical power dynamics, the perceived lack of a distinct white culture, and a fascination with black cultural products and resilience, and they're jealous of us, man. And really, this is all just envy of the birthright and of the spirit that Yahweh Bar Shem Yahweh Shai gave us. And that's why you'll see these Edomites say stupid things like, oh, I'm black from the waist down, because they associate sexual virility and an abundance of being associated with so-called black men. And yet at the same time, they want to try and make out like they're the hunk. Nobody don't say in this world, I'm white from the waist down, do they? When men are trying to chat up women, they try and copy the way our so-called black man would do it most of the time, man. There's even a trend, there's a new trend that people call certain of these Edomites broccoli heads and all that, yeah? They call them broccoli heads, right? But that broccoli head hairstyle is really an Edomite trying to copy the so-called hairstyle that so-called black people have naturally. And you'll see all people of all different races trying to copy this hairstyle. They all try and copy it. These people are all envious of us, man. And that's why they try and be intimidating and stuff like that. When walking in the street, they'll try and step right into our path when they don't need to. These people try and do all kind of things, man. I remember one elder said that when he used to have beads and wear certain of the beads and crystals and stuff like that, right? That he'd just be walking on the street and random heathens would just start driving past shouting racism at him, man. And that he had to stop wearing them because of that. Because these people are demons, man. They hate our guts, man. They know that the worst possible person that could be the chosen of the nation of earth, right, is exactly who it actually is, man. And that's why when they hear this doctrine, they try and laugh. But then when they go home and start doing their own research, they get scared. And then if they've got a so-called black friend after doing this research and they realize, damn, this is actually true, they ain't gonna tell him that he's an Israelite. But they tell him about something that makes him think he's African, though. They're not just neutral, and they ain't gonna talk to him about who he is racially. They're gonna tell him about who they think he is racially to try and make him be African or black. Oh, I'm more black than you. I listen to hip hop more than you, but they're not gonna say I'm more of an Israelite than you because I keep more of the commandments. They wouldn't say that to their so-called black friend, would they? But they'll say that they're more. These people that we've heard them say, I'm more black than you. I listen to more reggae than you. But they don't say I'm more of an Israelite than you. I've got fringes on. I don't cut my beard. I don't have a shape up. I don't have no tie. I'm more of an Israelite than you. They've never said that to us, have they? But they'll say they're more black than us because of how much reggae they listen to, or because they talk with a slang twist, with a hat flip on the side, man. But then they won't say they're more of an Israelite than us because they don't want us to know that we are. They never wanted us to know this, man. And that's why Psalms 83, they went out of their way to try and make the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. But yet it's remembered though. Israel, Israel, Israel. We remember it, man. I'm an Israelite, man. I'm an Israelite. I ain't no heathen. I ain't no tear, right? I ain't no heathen. I ain't no tear. I ain't no Hamite neither. I'm an Israelite. And the tribe that I'm from don't matter. But I think I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't care from the tribe of Asher. I don't give a damn what tribe I'm from. If I'm an Israelite, that's enough for me. I'm gonna be in the kingdom, chilling in there, man. Lord willing. Key drivers of white envy, perceived cultural voids. Some sociologists argue that because whiteness is often treated as the invisible norm or universal standard in Western society, some white individuals feel a lack of distinct ethnic identity. This can lead to an envy of black communities' strong sense of solidarity, heritage, and cultural distinctiveness. So all I've been doing in this video is showing all the different numerous ways in which these Edomites are envious and have hatred towards the children of Israel, man. They're hateful, man. They're always up in our business. And when I asked AI the question, it never said, yo, you're paranoid about this. This is not something real. But when you ask it certain other things, it will say that. Let me do a bit more, man. Fascination and appropriation and obsession with black culture, ranging from music and fashion to slang, is often cited by researchers as a mix of fascination and envy, and it's all that is both. They're even fascinated with this doctrine and envious. But Yahweh gave us words and wisdom, which all of our adversaries cannot gainsay, so they can't prove it wrong, nor resist. Neither can they just leave it alone and just stop bothering about it anymore. And that's why you got a certain guy that ever since he heard about this, his whole life's changed, man. Man's went to France because of it. He's went to the UK because of it. He'll claim he went to the UK because of something else, but where are his videos on what he did when he was in the UK outside of being about the Israelites? Then how come there's more footage on what he did in the UK about the Israelite thing than with what he did wherever he was coming to do whatever he was doing to do with his Christianity thing, man? It's real fascinating, right? He did a little short trailer of him in a small hat temple, but where's the full video though? Where is there even one video of him asking the exact same questions to small hats as he asked to the Hebrew Israelites? No, there isn't. Even just for educational purposes, he could nip it in the bud. Okay, he could just go to one of them temples and be like, okay, prove to the Hebrews, we want you to do this video, not for the Israelites, but for all the Christians. Because some of the people are getting weak in the faith and they're starting to believe what the Israelites say. So can you all just do a video proving and showing going through all these scriptures that the Israelites go through and show that you're the people? But he wouldn't do that though, because he knows that we're the people. And he actively chose to be the bad guy. Because he knows that we're the people by now. And he's still selectively choosing to come with the BS, man. He knows what it is now by now. Just like these Jakes that are trying to shoot, that have chosen to say that the Gentiles can be saved and that they're gonna judge us in the kingdom. They know what the truth is, but they've just chose to be the bad guys now. They're on the bad guys' side, man. Let me carry on. Is often cited by researchers as a mix of fascination and envy. This dynamic is sometimes described as white envy, where a desire to possess or be like the other coexists with a drive to maintain dominant power. Exactly. So here it is, they want to have power over us, but they want what we are. They want to be like an Israelite, but they want to rule over an Israelite. And what did that comedian Paul Mooney say? Everyone wants to be a nigger, but nobody wants to be a nigger. But let's flip it around and modernize it. Everybody wants to be an Israelite, but nobody wants to be an Israelite. They all want the blessings of the covenant, right? They all want to be sat under the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, but none of them want to keep the laws, though. They all want God to love them, but they don't want to love God. Isn't it fascinating? And that's why Ezra said back in the past, thousands of years ago, weigh our wickedness in the balance and the heathens also, and you're going to find that no one calls upon your name but Israel, and nobody else thinks upon your commandments but Israel. We're the only ones that think of the commandments, man. None of these other people think they are. And I think this might be my longest video that I've ever did, man, or one of them. This might be one of my longest videos, man, because this was grieving my spirit, man, and I had to speak on this. Envy of resilience and vitality. Psychological theory suggests that some white individuals envy perceived black joy, so we can't even be happy, or resilience in the face of adversity, viewing it as a humanizing strength they feel they lack in their own lives, and they do lack it. These Edomites can't handle taking an L on Call of Duty, bro. You get one of these Edomites on Call of Duty and get a 30-0 kill streak. Now you're a camper. Now you're an N-word. Now you gotta go back to Africa. They catch a hell. They slam their TV. They hit their TV with an F5. They then powerbomb their TV. Smash the TV up. He's cheating. He's got an aimbot. They can't handle it, man. They can't catch an L anywhere. Yet they've got all the advantages in the world, man. This can also manifest as, let me carry on. Or resilience in the face of adversity, viewing it as a humanizing strength they feel they lack in their own lives. This can also manifest as sexualized envy, rooted in historical stereotypes of black primitivism, or potency. Exactly. So what they'll call us primitive because we like sleeping with women, right? Rather than man. Maybe we're just healthier and more normal and got a higher libido because we're more of a man than you are. Maybe we've got naturally more testosterone than you. So our love for women is because we're not a faggot. Excuse my language. Maybe that's what it's got to do with, right? And that we've got within us an ability to increase our nation way faster than you've got the ability because you don't care to sleep with your women that much, man. And that's why when y'all are complaining about your population numbers, you're doing everything but sleeping with a woman and getting her pregnant. You're doing everything to increase, you're doing everything you can think of to depopulate the world, but you're not doing anything to really repopulate your own nation. You're not thinking, okay, we don't have as much children and this and that, so you know what, I should sleep with my wife and get her pregnant and put a bun in that oven. You're thinking, our numbers are low, so I need to spray things over the air, poison the food, poison this, poison that, shut down the world and make people take an experimental thing so that it can decrease their libido and damage them internally so that they can't have children as much. But you don't think, you know what, why don't we just have children? Do you know what I mean? Why don't we just sleep with each other and have children? You're going out of your way to try and make Israelite men alphabet community and make the women alphabet community. But you've did everything you can think of but have children. Isn't it fascinating? Status and competition. In what is termed competitive racism, envy can arise when an oppressed group becomes economically stronger, leading the dominant group to feel threatened by the success of black individuals, often referred to as black excellence. And there's so much more things, man. Right? There's so much more things that I could go into in this video, man. And maybe I'll do another video another day. But this video is getting long. And the longer it is, the less people might even see it. But you know what? Who cares about that anyway, man? I'm going to read one more. psychological considerations, cognitive dissonance, because societal narratives can sometimes create assumptions of inherent superiority. The feeling of envy towards a group deemed subordinate can create internal conflict. It is important to understand that complex social and historical factors influence group dynamics and individual feelings. Research in sociology and psychology explores these interactions to understand how different groups relate to one another in society. Now, I want to read one other thing. Give me a second. I want to go back to the scriptures and I want to read this Bible verse that goes into how we're grievous unto these Edomites to behold, man. Because all them things that I've read gave the understanding as to why they do this stuff, man. Right? This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 12. Therefore let us wait for the righteous, because the Edomites know we're righteous compared to them. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn and is clean, contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. He professeth to have the knowledge of God, and calleth himself the child of the Lord. He was made to reprove our faults. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion. And I just read it, didn't I? That they literally feel genuine stress by seeing us happy. Didn't they used to do laughing barrels in the Atlantic slave trade where we couldn't laugh even? So don't you think that that's going to be paid back? We are esteemed him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his father. They just hate our guts, man. They don't want us to have nothing in life, man. And it's not paranoia. When you're feeling that they're doing this stuff to you, I just made this video to show you're not paranoid. They're really doing it, right? We're grievous unto them even to behold, man. They're envious of us. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.